Howdy folks, welcome to another beautiful day out here in West Vancouver. In today's video, we're going to talk about driving around in Vancouver and what I've learned so far about it. Now, the most important thing I've learned is that you got to be patient. You just don't be in a rush to get anywhere because, you know, things work a little differently here. For a start, you know, in town, you've got maximum speeds of 50, some places 30, 40, 30, 50 k's an hour, so don't want to be rushing. And then of course on the highways you've got maximum speeds of 80, some places 60, and some places 90. I have heard that there's a piece of highway that's 120 out when you go north. I'm not sure where it is. I'm going to go find it one day, but the max speed on the highway is 90 around here. So you got to be patient. You can't be in a rush. You can't be like trying to fly somewhere. And then, of course, the other side of it is that, like, especially here where we are in West Vancouver, I mean, these little roads are so narrow. The one road that comes up to us here, it's so narrow that two cars can't fit next to each other. And then you've got all the brush. Well, two cars can barely fit next to each other. So it's a two-lane road, but you've got all the brush on the side, all the, like, hedges and stuff that's growing into the road, the trees and stuff. And then you've got everybody that parks on the street on the left. Now there's signs that says no parking, but nobody really cares. So you've got all the people parking on the left there. So at any given time, only one car can go through. So, you know, you come up there and it's like, okay, oh, there's a car in front. So then I need to duck into this guy's driveway so that he can pass, and then I duck out again and I go forward, and the next guy coming must duck into somebody else's driveway so I can go through, you know. So it's just one of those things. You can't be in a hurry. It's a 30 k's an hour zone and you've got cars parked on all sides. And then of course, you know, you've got the guys down the road here. They would on, there's a place where I've had a couple of accidents almost, because what happens is you have the gardening services coming to the house on the corner. Now, once again, narrow road at a T-junction. So the road comes up the hill and it makes a 90 degrees turn into the road that comes to our side, and it's a T-junction. And there's trees and stuff on the corner, so you can't really see anything around the corner. Then what the gardening service guys do is when they work at that side, they go and park on the right-hand side of the road with their truck. So only one car can pass. But that car, if it comes from this way and it goes down, it has to pass the gardening service truck on the left. And on the left is exactly where, if I come up the road and I take a right turn into that road, is exactly where I am. So I think it's probably happened about 3 times. Luckily, we don't drive fast. Like I said, don't drive fast. When I come around that corner, and it's quite a steep, so you go up in 90 degrees. So I come around the corner, and as I come around the corner, I'm like head on with the car that's trying to dodge the gardening service truck on the other side. It's like, oh, man. Yeah, it's a nightmare. It's actually funny. I mean, it's like so many places where you drive, you've got all these cars stopping on the side of the road, and then you somehow have the Amazon driver parking in the middle of the road, getting out and delivering his packages. You got to be patient in Vancouver. And then of course there's the road signs. The road signs is freaking crazy, you know. So you've got you've got all these places where it's like, you have all these places where it's like, oh, you can only turn right here between 4 and 6 p.m. and you can only turn left here between this times, or no right turn only for pedestrians, for bicycles. And I mean, there's just so many signs. It's absolutely crazy. It really, I think somebody way overthought the traffic. They thought they were making it much more efficient, and I think what they actually did is they screwed it up, because, you know, sometimes that happens when you're trying to make something more efficient, and you tweak and you tweak and you tweak and you get granular, you actually start confusing the hell out of people. One of the things that they have here, and we actually had it today, that's why I thought about talking about driving in Vancouver, was at Belinda's work, where we normally go pick her up. It's the main road, Lonsdale Road, which is a big road that runs down to the water from the highway. And then there's the little side road that comes into it. And there's a traffic light on the corner there. There's traffic lights on the corner. But it's not the normal traffic lights. It's the side road acts like a stop street. The traffic lights are just on the main road for the pedestrian crossing. So, and then in front of you, so you've got, how can I explain it? So what you got is you got the two red light, the traffic lights on that side on the two corners, and then the traffic lights on this side on the two corners. Looks like a normal traffic light, okay? But there's only two lights facing that way, or lights facing that way, and lights facing that way. And then for some reason, there's a single red flashing light, which I assume means a stop street, which they could have just put a stop street. But there's a single red flashing light on the other side. So if you're in this side road and the main road runs past you, you see this red flashing light there in front of you. Now how this thing operates, it's for the side road, it operates like a stop street. So you lock up there, you look left, you look right. If the road's clear, you can go. The traffic light, that red light never turns green. Never, ever. And then of course the two lights on the sides are always green unless a pedestrian arrives and presses the button to turn it red so that they can cross. So in any case, long story short, so this afternoon we go pick Belinda up and we are sitting behind this lady with her Tesla, fancy Tesla, and she's at this light and now she's waiting for that flashing light to turn green. She's looking at the other lights, it's green for the cross traffic. She doesn't know she doesn't get this whole stop street thing. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I do not blame her because it is like, it's just weird sometimes. But anyway, so she sits there in her Tesla. At first I didn't mind because we were waiting for Belinda. So Belinda walks up, she gets in the car and this lady sits in her Tesla and she looks at this red flashing light and these other lights that don't want to turn red. And now, I mean, I'm patient, but eventually there's like 4 or 5 other cars behind us. And I'm like, what do we do? I mean, she's never gonna turn because that light's never gonna go green. And she just sits there. So eventually I just go, boop, boop, you know, just one honk to show her that she must go. And she's just sitting and she's just sitting. And I'm thinking, okay, well, I've got to get out of the car and go and explain to her. But, you know, it's kind of an awkward situation. So I just went burp, burp again. And then eventually this poor lady, she actually decided to turn right because she wanted to turn left on the light. And then she actually just changed her mind and turned right because you are allowed to turn right on a red. You don't have to wait for the light to be green. So she turned right. I assume she went around the block and came back again, or she took another road. I don't know what happened there, but yeah. So there's a lot of confusing signage out here. And you just got to be careful. And then, of course, when you start talking about driving around, when you're going into winter like we are now, you got to make sure that you go and get your winter tires or proper all-weather tires. In Vancouver, you don't really need the studded. You get the studded winter tires with the steel studs, but I mean, that's more for the really frozen places. Over here, you're cool with just normal winter tires. Because once it starts snowing and it starts icing up, you do need the extra grip, undoubtedly. And yeah, that's about it. Of course, the other thing about driving around, the speed limits are 50 k's in town and 80 k's on the highway. And it is the biggest pain in the ass for Connor, who's learning to drive now. So he needs to stick to the speed limits because we say to him, hey, dude, you got to drive and you got to stick to 80 k's an hour because when you go for your tests, that's what they check. So you got to get used to it. The only problem is everybody else on the road drives faster than that. So nobody is actually sticking to the 80 k's an hour or the 50 k's an hour in town. So it's funny now, Connor is always the slowest guy on the road doing the speed limit, and then people start getting aggravated. Luckily, I must say, there's not a lot of that here. Most people are just chill. Most people are nice, they just chill, and if they have to wait like this afternoon, I mean, we were literally sitting there, I guess, for about 7 minutes at the traffic light behind this lady in the Tesla, and there was like 4 or 5 cars behind me, and everybody was just sitting going, eventually she'll figure it out. You know, Although I guess I was the one that started to get a little bit impatient because I was the one that honked. But I wasn't impatient. I just wanted to help her understand what she needs to do next. I should have just gotten out and gone and explained it to her so that next time she doesn't have the same problem. And that's it for driving around in Vancouver. For the rest is like, oh man, another thing is hidden signs, because I mean, it is a luscious place. There's lots of trees, lots of plants. It's green when it's summer like this, and even now stuff is growing and you've got leaves and everything. So the other day me and Connor went for a driving lesson. We go for driving every night now because he needs to practice for his test. And he skipped a stop street. Why? Because the stop street is sitting behind a tree, a bush, somebody's hedge, and you just actually see the little red corner of the thing, and until you're actually in there, then you see it's a stop street. So yeah, there's a lot of signage that goes missing, especially the like school signs and stuff like that. So one thing about driving around Vancouver is you've got to be so careful looking for all the damn signs, and there are so many of them. Like I must say, it's just like I said earlier, I think they overthought all the signs. They could have made traffic a lot easier. But yeah, I think that's about it. Talking about driving in Vancouver, it's chill. There's not a lot of people freaking out. They did catch a couple of guys the other day on the Sea to Sky Highway, 3 Porsches going 195 k's an hour. So yeah, they didn't like that much. So they caught the guys, they impounded their cars for 2 weeks, and I don't know, they're getting some serious fines, and their licenses are getting cancelled for a period of time and everything. But yeah, 3 Porsches dicing at 195 k's an hour, that's quite fast. Lots of fancy and fast cars over here. That's it, guys. You all must have an absolutely beautiful day, and we will speak again soon. Cheers.